coming in at number 1 on our list is Smeb from the Rocks Tigers. You have to be pretty good to be above Faker on this list. A lot of us thought we were going to be like clever by putting Smeb number 1 and be like, someone else will do Faker and we'll argue for Smeb. But I think the long and short of it is this guy was the back-to-back MVP. He's also on the team that won the LCK championship, and the team plays around him. So really, really good player. Spawn, let's start with you.
Yeah, so Smeb for me is, best player, best team aside, all those things. He plays with advantages and accumulates advantages like no other top laner I have ever seen. In a lane that is so easy to punish normally when you want to play up and aggressive. Smeb at times should be punished for how he plays, but he just does it so incredibly well. Plays within his limits and within his jungler's limits incredibly well at the same time. For me, he really is one of those players that you look at him and you see pretty much flawless play continually.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Smeb is a guy who gets targeted quite a lot. It can be in the pick and ban phase, it can be in-game, junglers coming up, supports warming up, we've seen it all, and he's able to handle it. I look at Smeb succeeding because he's also very smart. Like, he has the mechanics to back it up, but he understands when to play aggressive, when not to play aggressive. When he played against, let's take, Huni last year, that very hyped up matchup, Huni would just go like all in aggressive all the time, and Smeb would know exactly when to trade, when to back away, when to call up, his own jungler. So he's able to do much more than just being a good player. And again, that's what makes you now the best player in the world, because it's so much about your team and your teamwork, and that's why I think Smeb shines. He's just super smart, fantastic mechanics, and he can play everything.
And I think he also already has international success. His Worlds run, making it to the finals and eventually losing to SKT last year, was incredible. And then he also is able to break the second place curse when they won an LCK. So we can combine all the things about him being super smart, taking advantages, playing around his jungle, having the right vision, having the right mechanics. Also, he now has kind of broken that choking mentality that he might have had from being second, and can maybe kind of complete everything with the World Championship. I mean, that is really the end of the story for Smeb if he's able to do it. MVP, LCK champion, and World Champion. That's what he'd have to do if he wants to maintain number 1.
And he has a team around him to do it. We just talked about 4 players in the top 10, Peanut being his jungler, perfect synergy between them. So I think right now Smeb is set up to succeed, and it's up to Faker really to kind of prove everyone wrong and show that he can solo carry SKT towards another championship.
Yeah, and one of the exciting matchup to go towards. We love talking about, top lane versus top lane, but when you get to see a powerhouse in the mid lane go up against Smeb, and Smeb's map presence is pretty damn large as well for a top laner. I honestly think he's got it in him this year. He's just got such a good team around him, and he really has. I mean, he was great last Worlds. He's better now.
Yeah, so very high praise for Smeb, as it should be if he's the number 1 ranked player in the world. So number 1 top laner, number 1 player, Smeb.